free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Presented by Taco Bell.
Mike Greenberg, Greeny.
So Stace and I, we were going to Europe. We had no intention of going to London. We just flew there for one night to see the Rolling Stones in Hyde Park. And I loved it. It was so the opposite of anything I would normally do that I was just proud of us for doing it. I was just like, yeah, now we're those people.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Here we go now. A chance to win it and advance to tomorrow night's regional final. Scoochie Smith, hesitation dribble, going to go up, cross court to Seibert. Seibert thought about the three, fadeaway three. If they win it, they win! Another game winner for Seibert. Jordan Seibert again. I definitely think they caught him off guard with that three. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Coming at you live here, of course, on 1410 Wing AM, streaming live at wingam.com. And, of course, live on Facebook. We got the video stream back up and rolling, so take advantage of that. Head to the Facebook page, search the Justin Kinner Show, like, subscribe, follow along, and be a part of the conversation. You heard the ending to last night's TBT Red Scare game. The Dayton Flyers have advanced to tonight's regional final game as they're going to take on the money team. Now, again, I don't expect you guys to really know who, the names of all of these teams, but Jimmer Freddette. You remember Jimmer Freddette? Tonight, you will have a chance to see Scoochie Smith go up against Jimmer Freddette at UD Arena. It doesn't get any better than that. I tell you what, it's pretty exciting right now to get this March Madness type vibe, this March Madness type feel in the month of July. All the nostalgia, all the fun and the energy and the excitement that you get at UD Arena. Getting it here in the month of July, pretty exciting stuff. And the March Madness, the July Madness continues tonight. The TBT on WING. 7 o'clock to tip off the Dayton Flyers Red Scare. They will take on the money team. And like I said, that's the Floyd Money Mayweather's team. And they're highlighted and headlined by, of course, Jimmer Freddette. So it's going to be a good one coming up tonight, 7 o'clock. The tip off, I'll be heading to the arena immediately following my show here this afternoon. And I'm pretty jacked to get to the arena. There was a big game feel last night, and I bet it's going to be an even bigger game feel coming up tonight, especially having that normal 7 o'clock tip-off. Sole, our good friend Sole, by the way, he has an opportunity for you that if you have not bought tickets yet, take advantage of the discount that he has for you. He says, planning on going to UD Arena tonight for the Flyers TBT. I still have a discount for you. Go to ud.social/UL. ud.social/UL. And if you're on Twitter, go give Sully a follow. In fact, I'm going to hit retweets right now so you can go there. You're going to enter the code Dayton TBT and you're going to get half off your ticket price. If you want to go see the Dayton Flyers tonight, the TBT, the Red Scare, go and take advantage of that opportunity right there. Again, to get half off your tickets. It's that easy. So there's that. The best tickets in the arena are about $21. The rest are $16. And again, that's take advantage of the 50% off. Go to that website that I just told you, ud.social/UL. Enter the code DaytonTBT and be a part of all the action. Last night, again, it wasn't the best start for the Red Scare. In fact, they were very flat in the first quarter. They got it going a little bit in the second quarter, and then they really exploded it in that second half, or that third quarter, I should say. Highlighted, of course, by C.J. Walker, the former Buckeye, his half-court shot that he was able to nail to take momentum into the fourth quarter. Johnson Odom being guarded by Thomason. Step back three. Can't get it to fall. C.J. Walker coming away with the rebound. 2 seconds. Walker gets past half-court. He gets the shot off. It's good if it goes. Oh, it goes. He hit it. He hit it. He got the rebound, took a few dribbles just inside the half-court line and buried it and kissed it off the glass. And that is a huge shot. It's a 3-possession lead now for the Red Scare heading into the fourth quarter. The Red Scare would go on to win 62-56 over the Golden Eagles. Jordan Seibert hit a three-pointer from the wing to send the Red Scare past the Golden Eagles, as I talked about, 62-56 the final. Seibert, who also hit the Elam-ending shot in the opening round victory over City Team, led the way with 19 points, connected on 5 of his 10 attempts from behind the arc. Scoochie added 10 points himself. Josh Cunningham had a game-high 11 rebounds. Darius Johnson-Odom, was fantastic for the Golden Eagles, of course. They had a couple NBA guys, former big-time D1 guys as well on their roster, but Red Scare able to advance. Dayton scored just 4 points in the game's first 8 minutes and trailed by as much as 12 before battling back and taking care of business. So again, tonight, 7 o'clock to tip off. If you don't have plans, head to the arena and a chance for you to get half off on your tickets, ud.social/UL, and then enter the code Dayton TBT. All one word, Dayton TBT, to get half off your tickets and go support the Flyers coming up as they look to advance to championship week, which will also be at the University of Dayton Arena. But it's been fun kind of sitting with Norm and taking in the nostalgia that is the TBT at the University of Dayton Arena. It's pretty cool. I love the alumni teams. We had a couple good alumni teams last night in the Red Scare, of course. And the Golden Eagles, and I didn't think they were going to get past them at a certain point, but they were able to kind of rally together. And again, it's just when you have those alumni teams who have that chemistry, who have played together, I think that was definitely a plus. Plus, I also think the home court advantage didn't hurt all that bad as well. All right, if you're just tuning in, we welcome you. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, minus Kev Nash. We have a lot to dive into here today. Yesterday, I had meant to dive back into the interview with Willie Anderson. We'll get to that coming up around the corner. Not the full interview, just a couple things that I found the most interesting in regards to the way he defends Mike Brown and the way he defends the Cincinnati Bengals organization. And Willie and I had gone back and forth on Twitter a while back. Him and I didn't always see the eye to eye, but it's cool that we're kind of back on the same page again. He understands me a little bit more now. You guys still don't understand me, and that's fine. But Willie, one of the good ones, really appreciate him taking time with me earlier in the week, and we'll dive into that. But he's very frustrated with a common narrative that continues to float around sports media when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. And even I have to sit back and say, hey, look, there's a lot to poke fun at when it comes to the Bengals organization over the years, but this particular narrative isn't exactly factual. We'll get to that around the corner. All right, so you guys, look, you've dealt with me defending Baker for many, many years. And just if you thought that Baker Mayfield leaving Cleveland, that means that's the last you would hear of me talking about Baker Mayfield on this show, well, you're mistaken. You're mistaken. Because Baker Mayfield, well, he's back in the headlines today, of course, as the Panthers right now are back out on the field and they're taking care of business. And they kicked off their training camp, which means that Baker was going to be right there, front and center, right back in front of the media. And he was on his best behavior the last time he was in front of media. Maybe not so much today. This comes from NFL Grant here. Again, he covers the Carolina Panthers. And during their media session today, quarterback Baker Mayfield says that Matt Rule is the best offensive mind that he's ever played for. Matt Rule is the best offensive mind that he has ever played for. Now, maybe he truly believes that. But Kevin Stefanski, honestly, he came over, won Coach of the Year, led the Browns to the playoffs. He did everything in his power to build the offense around the limitations of Baker Mayfield. And the fact that they were able to do what they did with the limitations of Baker Mayfield, to me says, even though I like Baker, I call BS. There's no way that you could automatically, after one day of camp, all of a sudden know that Matt Rule is the best offensive mind that you've ever played for until he could find a way to get a team to the playoffs that you are running. I don't think you can say at all that he is the best offensive mind that you have ever played for. Baker Mayfield was not done there. He says that Matt Rule is the best offensive mind that he's ever played for. He says that it's nice to finally be somewhere that wants to put me in the best position to succeed. Now, I've defended Baker Mayfield in a lot of crazy things that he has said over the years. I've defended him when he was being a little too aggressive, going at teammates who were opting out or sitting out, battling for dollars in their contract. I defended him when he was battling, continuing to play throughout that injury last year, trying to will his team to victory. There was a lot of time, I defended him when he acted like a child on the field going up against, of course, Hugh Jackson. Of course, when Hugh Jackson took the Dwight Schrute position with the Cincinnati Bengals. And he basically snubbed him and wouldn't even shake his hand at at midfield. And of course, everyone talked about it. I defended Baker and all of those shenanigans that he was up to. This one I can't get behind. Look, I don't believe that Kevin Stefanski did the best job last year for the Cleveland Browns, but at the same time, nothing was going right last year for the Cleveland Browns. Their star players couldn't stay healthy. Just when the players would come off the IL, all of a sudden there would be a COVID outbreak. And just when they start to get everyone back together, position groups as a whole were wiped out due to COVID. I mean, it was just one thing after another. And then, you had the OBJ complications on top of it. Everyone thinks that was all because of Baker Mayfield, although I still think OBJ played a huge role in his departure from Cleveland as well. That's not what this topic is about, but it was chaotic last year. I do not think Kevin Stefanski did a great job last year, but I can't sit there and say, well, he had one bad year, one really, really good year, and we have to automatically assume that he's automatically bad and ignore all the good that he's done. I think Kevin Stefanski is going to be a fine coach moving forward for the Cleveland Browns, and it's going to become a lot easier, especially because of the fact that, well, you have Deshaun Watson. At least we think that the Browns have Deshaun Watson. Still no word on the suspension. We'll get to that coming up around the corner as well. But for Baker Mayfield to sit here and actually say that it's nice to finally be somewhere that wants to put me in the best position to succeed, I have no clue what he means by that. I don't understand how he could sit there and badmouth an organization that honestly did more for him than what most teams do for their star QBs. Aaron Rodgers now really is not as much of a sympathetic figure as what he once was, but the big knock on the Green Bay Packers was the fact that they refused to put weapons around Aaron Rodgers. Yes, of course, they had Devontae Adams, but he was a late-round draft pick. Of course, he developed into being one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver in football. So it kind of bailed the Packers out a little bit. And by the way, I'm still pro-Packer. I don't think they were the worst, but they never went out of their way to overspend to put weapons around a talent like Aaron Rodgers. They never drafted offensive weapons in the first round of the draft. I mean, the first time since Aaron Rodgers became the starting quarterback in Green Bay, the first time that they had drafted a offensive player in the first round of the draft was potentially his backup in Jordan Love. They never provided him weapons. Aaron Rodgers would have more of an argument saying that the Packers did not do what they needed to put him in position to succeed more than Baker Mayfield has the right to say that about the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns put the best offensive line in football in front of him. The Cleveland Browns drafted Nick Chubb, who was a top 5 running back in the National Football League. And you know what? They said, hey, Baker Mayfield, you have the best offensive line in football. You have a top 5 running back in football, but we're not done there. How about we go ahead and we get you Kareem Hunt as well? So now you have 2 of the top 10 running backs in the National Football League, the best offensive line in football. And hey, you have great leadership in Jarvis Landry, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to give up some key prospects. We're going to move on from one of our top offensive linemen in Zeitler, but we're going to go get you Odell Beckham Jr. We're going to get you one of the best young wide receivers in football. We are going to get you every weapon you need. Now, the Browns, keep in mind, when they went out and traded for Odell Beckham Jr., they figured they were trading for the number 1 wide receiver that the Giants had the pleasure of working with for quite a few years. That is not the OBJ that came over. Sure, it did not work out with OBJ. OBJ was very, very average at best during his time in Cleveland, and it was not all because of Baker Mayfield. But the point is that the Browns said, you know what, OBJ, and at the time that they traded for him, OBJ was a top 5 wide receiver in football when the Browns traded for him from the Giants. So in the ownership's mind, they traded for Odell Beckham Jr. to give Baker Mayfield his number 1 wide receiver. He had one of the best leaders as his number 2 wide receiver in Jarvis Landry. They were able to get guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones and Schwartz and Higgins. The best offensive line in football. He had the top 5 running back in Nick Chubb. They go get him another top running back in Kareem Hunt for more depth. They have Dearness Johnson. Then they're not done there because you know what they do? They drafted David Njoku, and Njoku's been solid, but you know what they said? We're going to get him more blocking, and we're going to get him one of the top tight ends in football. And they went out and got Austin Hooper, and they made him one of the top highest paid tight ends in football. They provided him multiple tight ends. They provided him multiple star running backs. They provided him the best running back or the best offensive line in football. They provided him a true number 1 wide receiver, at least at the time that they traded for him. OBJ in New York was a true number 1 wide receiver. That's who the Browns were intending to trade for. They didn't know that when he got to Cleveland that he was just going to be a complete shell of himself. All right. That wasn't all on Baker. To this day, I'm still saying that. The bottom line is Baker has no right to sit here and actually utter those words and actually think that it's nice to finally be somewhere that wants to put me in the best position to succeed. I have no clue what he means about that. From simplifying the offense because they didn't want him to try and air it out with the best of them, because he couldn't air it out with the best of them. He couldn't be Aaron Rodgers. He couldn't be Patrick Mahomes. He couldn't even be Matthew Stafford. He couldn't be Joe Burrow. I like Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is a way better quarterback than people give him credit for. But at the same time, I'm not going to always defend every time he says something silly. And this might be, of all the dumb things that Baker has said since coming into the league, this might be the dumbest thing he has ever said. Actually uttering those words, that the team that had him the best offensive line in football, 2 top 10 running backs, traded to get him a number 1 wide receiver, overpaid to get Austin Hooper to come to Cleveland. Yeah, the Browns, they didn't put Baker in position to succeed. I mean, the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can't defend Baker there. That's just silly. And it also sounds like Baker's not having the best first day on the job with the Carolina Panthers either, but I don't really buy into all the hype tweets out there of all the reporters covering these first practices of training camp, but nonetheless. All right, folks, good stuff. Way to start the show. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Phone lines are open. Social media side of things, you could reach out to the show using Twitter at 1410Kinner, at 1410Kinner, Kinner. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Today we have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 85 degrees. Overnight thunderstorms possible with a low of 71. And for your Thursday, partly cloudy skies and a high of 87 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, July 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to Children's Miracle Network hospitals for your local children's hospital, making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, July 28th at DQ.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's. Reese's.
Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today. Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Call Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good.
Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-554-6899. That's 800-554-6899. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-554-6899 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
I can't wait to see the butter cow at the Ohio State Fair.
We gotta ride the sky glider, the giant slide, play some games,
and pet a baby goat.
Make memories that will last a lifetime at the Ohio State Fair, July 27th through August 7th, ohiostatefair.com.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Well, being the unprofessional sports talk show host that I am, I once again fall for a fake tweet on social media. It's absolutely, there's a lot of bad things that can happen doing this line of work, but there's nothing worse than lately not being able to trust a damn thing that you come across on social media. So I do have to apologize to my guy Baker, because I sit here and I defend him all the time. And then I finally had enough because I read a quote today that I thought was an actual quote, and I'm admitting and just being 1,000,000% honest with all two of my listeners that I got duped. I got had. I got. So some guy on Facebook, thank you. I'm not going to hide and run from it. I know some hosts, if they get something wrong, they'll just hide it and move on. But nope. I screwed up. So that's on me. But let's be clear, it does sound like something that Baker would say. Let's just be a little honest. It does sound like something that Baker would say. But nonetheless, we welcome you back again. The good news is that NFL training camps have officially kicked off. The Bengals kicked off today. We'll kick off today. Of course, the Browns, they kicked off inside due to bad weather, because they can actually go inside because they have an indoor practice facility. I'm sorry. Now I'm just mad at myself, so now I'm going to take it out on the Bengals and talk about that. But obviously the Panthers in full swing, and it's going to be interesting to see how some of these teams kind of prepare for this upcoming season. The first NFL preseason game is a week from tomorrow, and then the real preseason games, if you will, start 2 weeks from tomorrow. But you know what? I don't care about Look, Sean McVay has started this trend in the National Football League where he doesn't even play any of his starters in these preseason games. So we went from debating how important and how important these preseason games even are back when they played starters to now not playing starters at all. And it's like, man, I just don't put any value into the preseason at all from a viewer standpoint. But I have said before, there is something special about that very first NFL preseason game. You sit back and you watch it. You don't know who half these dudes are, but there's just something special about those first couple weeks of hearing the cracking of the pads and hearing the officials whistle and just taking in the sounds of a football game. So I'm kind of jacked for the first preseason, the Hall of Fame game a week from tomorrow night. But nonetheless, that's just kind of where I'm at as far as that's concerned with football coming up around the corner. So there's that. So some guy says, yeah, it was a very Baker-like tweet. He's given folks every reason to believe quotes like that. Yeah, so I fudged up. My fault. But nonetheless, like I said, in my defense, it doesn't sound like it's that far off from something he would say. But 518-1410, let's go to Charles. Charles, how are you, my friend? Welcome.
Hey, Justin, first-time caller, but listen all the time. So I'm a Browns fan, just like you, and I'm also a Baker fan, just like you. So, but there was one thing that I did see today, and it was actually a video, and it was a Browns fan, and she was at the Carolina's practice today, and she was wearing a number 6 Baker Mayfield jersey, Browns, and he looked over at her and said, "Hey, you need to put that away." And then now that's on video. That was real. And then got to me, like I said, I'm a Baker fan, but the one thing that I am fed up with Baker was the immaturity, not only from him, but his wife too. I just feel like they talk too much. And it kind of showed me, even leaving the Browns, and being traded for a 5th round pick, he just still didn't learn his lesson. He just couldn't help himself. I mean, she's there supporting you. She actually is on video today saying that she's rooting against the Browns week 1 because she loves Baker Mayfield. And he looked over at her and said, "Hey, put that away." I just thought it was immature, just like always.
Well, hold up. I mean, what was his tone? I mean, context matters a little bit. What was his tone? Was it said in a joking way? I know what video you're talking about. I've seen people kind of retweet it and share it all day. I haven't had a chance to watch it, so I'm not sure what was said. But I mean, obviously, I believe you. But was he saying it in a malicious way or what?
It wasn't malicious. I couldn't tell if malicious, joking. I just think it's just part of who he is, and that's why I liked him. That's why I thought he was perfect for Cleveland. He always has that chip on his shoulder. But I just think there's some times where you just need to shut up, and you just don't. You don't see Rodgers and Mannings and Brady's. You just don't see them talking like that, especially to a fan there to support you, whether he was playing or not. I don't know. That's just how I took it.
No, Charles, and no, I understand where you're coming from. Look, Baker, his margin for error with perception especially is very thin at this point. But what I will say is that's very on point with Baker's personality. Maybe not so much the immaturity I'm talking about, although you can make that argument too. But Baker has always had that mentality of you're either with us or you're against us. He had that when he was at Oklahoma. You're either with us or you're against us. That's why he planted the flag in the middle of the field at the shoe. He was all about, bringing the troops together. Hey, I'm with Oklahoma. I'm all about Oklahoma. He's sticking it to Ohio State. He just wanted to, he had that, us against the world mentality. He goes to Cleveland. Same thing there. He had that me against the world mentality or us against the world mentality. That's why when I think it was a Duke Johnson or whatever, when he was having the contract issues, Baker was wrong in that. But basically Baker had the mindset of, hey, we need everyone here. We need everyone ready to go to get ready for this season. You're either with us or you're against us. Hugh Jackson was his coach when he first got into the league. Hugh then gets fired. He takes the Bengals job. And what does Baker do? Well, you're not with us. You're against us. And it sounds like it's that pattern again with this fan on that you're alluding to the video from earlier today.
And I agree. And I agree that, that's always been his mentality. And I agree that it worked in college, but I haven't seen it work yet in the NFL. I think going after these players such as Duke Johnson, I think you start losing the locker room a little bit, kind of like with the OBJ situation. And who knows how that unfolds. I'm sure how that unfolded. I'm sure it'll come out. But hey, I just wanted to call in and say, hey, like I said, first time caller, go Browns.
All right, and remember when I picked up earlier and you said you were Charles, there's a Charlie that calls in that is the Charles, the Charlie. But since you're a Browns fan, you are officially the Charles now. So just so you know. So good.
Hey, I like it, and I'll call more if that's the case.
Hey, take care, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Thank you.
518-1410. But yes, we could scrap the whole first half of this show because it was all predicated around a fake quote from Baker Mayfield, and me being the professional sports talk show host that I am, it doesn't surprise me that I fell for it. So there you go. All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We got the TBT on WING tonight. It'll be the Dayton's Flyers Red Scare going up against Money Team. It'll be Scoochie Smith against Jimmer Freddette. And again, hopefully you can get out to UD Arena tonight and take it all in. It's going to be an exciting atmosphere once again. It was a great atmosphere last night considering the fact that it was a 9 p.m. tip-off. But our dude Sully, host of the Talking Out Loud podcast, again, make sure you go and take advantage of the special offer he has for you because it's the half off, 50% off. Get half off on your tickets. Go to ud.social/UL and enter the code DaytonTBT to get half off on your tickets for tonight's game again. So go and take advantage of that half off discount for tonight's tickets to go watch the Red Scare against Money Team. Scoochie Smith against Jimmer Freddette. Get tickets half off. Go watch some of your favorite former Flyers. And if you don't make it to the game, that's fine. Tune in to the game right here at 7 o'clock on 1410 Wing AM with myself and Norm Greavy. There are two huge trades that are going to impact the Cincinnati Reds mightily. I'm going to tell you which one is going to impact the Reds significantly more than the other one. One involves a player that's currently on the Reds roster, and another involves a player that could potentially be heading to another roster, and I'll explain when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
O'Reilly.
Improve your vehicle's gas mileage and power with Royal Purple Fuel Injector Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. And right now, buy one 6-ounce bottle and get one free, plus earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Save money on gas and boost performance with Royal Purple Fuel Injector Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
The DEA says Dayton is one of the nation's hardest hit places when it comes to overdoses and drug-related violent crime. News Center 7 is talking with agents to give you an inside look at the new operation designed to save lives. Today on News Center 7, beginning at 5.
Carrie Underwood, Thomas Rhett, Maren Morris. On the next Entertainment Tonight, we're backstage for the iHeart Country Festival.
Every single act is at the top of their game.
Next ET, tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
Frickers heats up summer with boneless brew and barbecue, boneless frickin' chicken wings, Brew City fries, and barbecue rib tips for only $12.99 dine-in only. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Boneless brew and barbecue. Say it with me.
Boneless brew and barbecue.
Remember that Frickers always has barbecue baby back ribs. Frickers serves up whole and half slabs every day. Boneless brew and barbecue at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain, but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Heber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Are you drawn to a career in public service that takes you into the great outdoors? ODNR is looking for its next class of natural resources officers, a group set to protect and serve Ohioans.
I've always wanted to work outside and wanted to work with people and be a part of a team as well. Those experiences led me to becoming a natural resource officer.
Find out if you have what it takes. Go to ohiodnr.gov/get-hired to apply.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Take Audible along this summer and listen to best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts. Start with a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Tonight might be the final game that you will get to see Red Star pitcher Luis Castillo, or at least sport the Cincinnati Reds C on his jersey. Of course, he's right now the biggest hot commodity. Well, maybe second or third. How about Shohei Ohtani's name being mentioned as a potential trade piece at this upcoming deadline? As right now, due to the Angels, who are based out of Los Angeles, of course, they're in a situation where they have been, very open to spending money, but they spend a lot of money on, of course, Mike Trout, and they have a lot of money invested into quite a few other players on that roster. Why you would not do everything in your power to keep Ohtani is just beyond me. But Ohtani is in a situation where he's going to be the highest paid baseball player ever, and deservedly so. How many of you at your job, when COVID hit and you were fortunate to keep your job, but some of those around you lost their jobs, you absorbed their responsibilities? And at the time, you absorbed those responsibilities because you know what? You're just grateful to have a job during this global pandemic at the time that we had no clue what the hell was going on. But then as time has gone on and we came out of that pandemic, I know it's still technically out there, but you understand where I'm coming from. We don't have to argue every time the pandemic is brought up. We come out of the pandemic, we still have our jobs. We're still doing a lot of responsibilities of quite a few other positions that we used to have in your buildings, correct? Like, isn't that? So then you're frustrated and you're saying, okay, I was a team player at first, but you know what? I'm bringing a lot to the table. You're paying me to be this person. You are paying me to do this job. I have actually absorbed quite a lot of responsibilities of quite a few other high-paying positions in the building. You're not replacing those positions, so that money's out there. Shouldn't I be getting paid to do those? Makes too much sense if you own a business, and I know that people that own businesses, you're what keep our radio stations going. But if you're one of those business owners out there that thinks it's okay to continue to stockpile responsibilities on employees and not pay them for the more responsibilities you're giving them, shame on you. But that's how I view Shohei Ohtani. Couple reports on the Angels who aren't, maybe are basically against the idea of paying him what he is potentially going to be looking for, potentially making $65 million a year. Now you're saying, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? $65 million a year. How can one player make that much? It's very simple. That one player is not just one player that has the same job responsibilities as the star player next to him. If you think that Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout have the same star power, have the same value, I'm laughing at you and feel bad for you. Mike Trout statistically is the best player in baseball right now and is technically, historically, the best player ever, statistically. I know some of you old heads out there, you didn't like that I said that, but statistically, Mike Trout is the best baseball player ever. He is getting paid a pretty penny. What, about $400 million total for his contract? Shohei Ohtani, when it's time to pay him, he is going to have every right to ask for that $60 million a year number. Will he get it? I don't know, but he should. I brought up the example earlier of when COVID hit and you absorbed those job responsibilities. Common sense tells you that, well, if I was making X amount of dollars to do all of these things on my job description, and then I absorbed 50% of their job description, I should be getting paid 50% of what they were making, right? And it makes sense. If I'm going to do all those job responsibilities to prevent you from having to hire someone else to do those job responsibilities, why wouldn't you just put a good chunk of that change back into me, right? Makes too much damn sense. Business owners, some of you aren't smart enough to comprehend it. I'm talking to us common folk who aren't fortunate enough to own a business. That's Shohei Ohtani right now. He is looking at the front office of the Angels and saying, okay, listen, not only am I one of your best hitters, I'm also one of your best pitchers. We have never seen a player like Shohei Ohtani. Not in any of our listeners' lifetimes have we seen a player like Shohei Ohtani. We've done this weird thing where we got really excited. Remember Michael Lorenzen? Remember Michael Lorenzen for the Reds? Remember how big and jacked he was? But remember what people would get so excited about? Man, he's a pitcher and he can also hit. First of all, he couldn't hit. He had like a 211 average. That's pretty good for a pitcher. That doesn't mean you can hit. Just because you might be the best hitting pitcher in baseball, that's like saying I'm the tallest fifth grader. What does that exactly mean? Oh, you're the tallest of all the fifth graders in the room. What? That doesn't, you're not winning anything with that. You're not going to start a high school basketball team being the tallest basketball player in fifth grade. So he's the best hitting pitcher in baseball at the time, Michael Lorenzen. And Reds fans, you would lose your mind for him. Oh, Michael Lorenzen, he's so great. Best hitting pitcher. I mean, my gosh, he could play the outfield. He can catch a ball. Wow. Super. Shohei Ohtani is the real deal. He is an all-star. He has mastered multiple positions on multiple fronts. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball. One of the best hitters in all of baseball. We've never seen anything like it before. So if he can look at the front office and say, you're basically getting a 2-for-1, you could shave a little off the top, but I think asking for $60 million a year is not that big a deal. You're putting me in the lineup pretty much every night. You're putting me in the rotation every, 5-6 days? Shohei Ohtani has every right to ask for every dollar that he has coming to him because of what he brings to the table, and rightfully so. It's going to be, I can't wait to see the future of Shohei Ohtani and how teams market or view him and what the market is going to set for him, because it's going to be a very pretty penny, and he is justified in asking for every one of those pennies when that time comes. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So there is another name that is floating around on the trade blocks that is going to be very interesting to keep an eye on where they end up. And that's, of course, the Nationals star player in Soto, of course, and where he goes. I mean, that's where everyone's keeping an eye on. And he's going to, require a nice little chunk of change in return, or a nice little chunk of prospects in return. And the thing I keep following with this is the Nationals once again find themselves in a position where they cannot keep their star player happy. They could not keep Bryce Harper happy. They couldn't pay him what he wanted, and he bolted. Soto they can't pay him what he wants, and he wants out. And my big question is, this is always more alarming than anything else. You want to talk about organizations who lose a lot. The Reds lose a lot. You compound losing a lot with not being able to afford your star players. I think, like, if I'm a Nationals fan, I'm more debilitated. I'm more sick to my stomach at the idea of losing Soto just a few seasons after losing Bryce Harper. Juan Soto's likely departure it's an all too familiar story that they've had experience before with Bryce Harper. And it's not like, oh, remember that time 15 years ago? This was 2 years ago. 2019, the Nationals won the World Series. 2018 was the last time that Bryce Harper played with the Nationals. And here we are 4 years later, and the Nationals are doing it again. Can you imagine if you had this Washington? I mean, they had Rendon. They would have, obviously, Soto. They would have Bryce Harper. I mean, they would have a Yankees lineup, and it would have been homegrown. The Nationals are a very solid organization. They draft well. They win ball games. They compete for the playoffs. They develop stars, but they can't keep them. In a sport with no cap, there's nothing holding you back from being able to keep as many of these guys as you possibly can. There's no excuse. This isn't the NBA where you could only get your hands on 1 to 2 stars. This isn't the NFL where, okay, yes, the cap's pretty friendly. You can pay your quarterback and wide receiver a lot, but look at the Bengals, a prime example. They're having to get very creative with how they want to set up or prioritize where they want their funds to go. They're about to lose Jesse Bates because, well, we might have to lose Jesse Bates, but look, we're going to get T. Higgins. We're going to get Jamar Chase. We're going to get Joe Burrow. There's a very good chance that $120 million a year could be put all into 3 players for the Bengals. There's a cap to work with, to work around. Not in baseball, and yet the Nationals are about to tell their fans for the second time in 4 years, say goodbye to a very, very talented star player that we developed. That's a problem. I bring up Juan Soto because I think that this name is going to impact the Cincinnati Reds in a big way. One of the names of the teams that is in the running to potentially acquire Soto is the St. Louis Cardinals. And I bring this up as being a problem for the Reds because I look at the Reds and I look at what they're doing in this rebuild, and I'm actually pretty excited about what the future holds for the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have everything you need to be successful moving forward. They have found 3 extremely talented arms that they have drafted, that they have developed, and that they have called up all at the same time, and that they are all going to move on a line together. You're going to have a young pitching rotation that's going to feature Graham Ashcraft, that's going to feature Hunter Green, that's going to feature Nick Lodolo. And you're going to have money to spend to maybe add a veteran arm to be the headline of, or to be the ace of that staff. You have Jonathan India, you have Tyler Stevenson, you have big bats coming up through the system, and now you're going to have a big haul coming in for Luis Castillo. The Reds' future, they're going to be really, really good really, really soon. And the reason that excites me is because you look at the NL Central, the Cubs are about to bid farewell to Contreras and Happ and some of the last remaining guys of their successful run that they've had. But the Cubs are back to being the Cubs that I remember growing up. Not the Moises Alou and Sammy Sosa, not that Cubs run. But between the Sosa and between the Chris Bryant Cubs, those were the Cubs I grew up with. That's the Cubs that we're about to witness once again. The Cubs are on the downslope. The Pirates can't figure anything out. The Brewers are solid. They're always going to be there. But even when the Reds have been bad over the last couple of seasons, they've been right there with the Brewers. I'm not afraid or intimidated by the Brewers. Very well-run organization. They very rarely fall below the misery line. They're always going to be competitive, but the Brewers aren't anything to fear. I don't fear the Brewers. I definitely don't fear the Pirates. I used to fear the Cubs, and the Cubs look as vulnerable as any big franchise out there right now. So that's 3 teams in your division that you don't fear. The Cardinals have been running in place for a few seasons now. They've just been very average. They've been very competitive. They have a very good farm system. They develop talent. They've added some big names in free agency, of course, over the years, but Paul Goldschmidt, some others. They've added Nolan Arenado. They're about to, they have Adam Wainwright in the, of course, in their rotation, who the Reds just beat up on pretty good just the other day, by the way. But they're about to bid farewell to Yadier Molina. And look, the end of an era. All right, and you're going to have Paul Goldschmidt, solid first baseman. Of course, you have Nolan Arenado, one of the top third basemen. And now there's a chance that they're going to add Juan Soto. If the Cardinals do that, that's a problem for the Cincinnati Reds, because I thought of all the teams, when you look at the next 5-year stretch for the NL Central, the team that has the brightest future is the Cincinnati Reds. So when I talk about the trades that are going to impact the Reds greatly here moving forward, I think that the Soto trade potentially to the Cardinals can impact the Reds significantly more than any return that the Reds can get for Luis Castillo at this point. The best thing that can happen for the Cincinnati Reds is the Cardinals to miss out on Juan Soto. That would be fantastic. If the Cardinals don't get him, that would be huge, because that means we head into the offseason with the Cardinals losing Yadier Molina, Goldschmidt being another year older, Arenado another year older, Wainwright going to be gone. You look at the NL Central, the only team that's been consistent as of late is the Brewers, and I don't think they're unbeatable, not by a long shot. You look at the Brewers right now sitting atop the NL Central, 54-44, 10 games up. Have a plus 31 run differential. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Cardinals are right there in the mix of things too. They're 3 games back, but the Cubs are about to blow it up again. Excuse me. The Pirates are down at the bottom with the Cubs, and the Reds are 3 games back of the Pirates and the Cubs for the worst record in that division. The best thing that can happen for the Reds is they trade Luis Castillo. They get a buttload of prospects back. They just continue to add more and more depth to their farm system. They had a great return for Jesse Winker, another solid pitcher that they got for him. You get a nice return for Luis Castillo, and now you have Tyler Stevenson, you have Jonathan India, you have Hunter Green, you have Nick Lodolo, you have Graham Ashcraft, you have TJ Antone coming back off the IL next year. You have Gutierrez. You have a lot of these big names coming up. You have, again, the future for the Reds, the next 5 years. You look at the next 5 years for the NL Central, it should belong to the Cincinnati Reds. It should belong to the Cincinnati Reds. My biggest fear is the Cardinals getting Soto. The Cardinals loading up and having Arenado, having Paul Goldschmidt, having, obviously getting Soto in there. Now all of a sudden the Cardinals just look like one of those elite teams, like a lot of the teams that you see in the American League when you talk about the Astros, when you talk about the Yankees. All right, when you talk about those stacked and loaded rosters, that's what the Cardinals are about to turn into. There is no stacked roster in the NL Central right now. The Reds have the best stacked young roster, in my opinion, as far as potential future all-stars. I mean, Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, they're going to be Reds all-stars for the next 10 years. They'll probably at least be in the all-star game 6 or 7 of the next 10 years if they remain healthy. Same thing with Hunter Green. I mean, this might be one of the last times that the Reds only have one lone all-star come the all-star game. I think moving forward, Jonathan India is going to be a regular. Tyler Stevenson is going to be a regular in the all-star game. Hell, at last place team right now, if Tyler Stevenson and Jonathan India are healthy this year, I think they're in the all-star game. Hunter Green, another year in the league, he'll be in the all-star game. Nick Lodolo, he'll be in the all-star game. The Reds have a ton of talent coming up, and they're about to get even deeper once they move on from Luis Castillo, who's about to make his final start for the Cincinnati Reds coming up later on tonight. I am praying that the Cardinals do not end up with Juan Soto. I am really hoping that that's not the case. But everything you read and everything I hear says that they are in the best position to acquire him as far as having everything that the Nationals are looking for. They have the cap, they have the space to do, they have the money to do it. They have expiring contracts coming off the books after this year, and they have a ton of prospects. The Cardinals could potentially be an interesting landing spot. But I guess on the flip side, if you want to be positive, if a team like the Cardinals does end up with a Paul Goldschmidt and, of course, with the Nolan Arenado, and they end up with Juan Soto, at least the Reds are going to have the pitching to be able to combat that. But it would just really stink where just as the Reds are about to embark on potentially having the brightest future in the NL Central over the next 5 years, the Cardinals go and they stuff that out right away. It's going to be an interesting week building into that trade deadline. We know that the Reds are going to move on from Luis Castillo. At least, that hasn't been confirmed by the Reds, but I think we all understand where this is going at this point. All right, folks, good stuff. 518-1410, 518-1410. Your thoughts on the potential of Soto going to the Cardinals? Does that bother you? Does that put fear into you the way it does into me? Because I see the door has been cracked open for the NL Central to belong to the Reds here. I think they have in the next 5 years, the Reds will be the top of this division. They just have way too much young talent right now. I mean, it would take a catastrophic collapse for this organization to ruin the young talent that they have right now. I'm not putting it past them, but I'm being optimistic. This is the Reds division in the next 5 years. And my concern is a big move like this, acquiring Juan Soto by the Cardinals. If that's the case, I'm a little nervous about that. 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Blue Angels are back. And for the first time ever at the Centerpoint Energy Dayton Air Show presented by Kroger, they'll be performing with their new FA-18 Super Hornets July 30 and 31st at Dayton International Airport. This year's show features military and civilian demonstrations, historic aircraft, food and fun, along with hands-on interactive events. Tickets are available while supplies last at DaytonAirShow.com. Discount general admission tickets at area Kroger stores.
The Big Hoopla is proud to welcome the TBT, the basketball tournament, back to the Gem City. Join the Big Hoopla and all the fun and excitement as we cheer on Dayton's alumni team, the Red Scare. The stakes are high as TBT is $1 million winner-take-all event. We'll see you at UD Arena for the Dayton Regionals and the TBT Championship July 24th through August 2nd. For tickets and sponsorship information, visit DaytonHoopla.com. That's DaytonHoopla.com.
Save big on your next project and get 11% off everything at Menards. Protect and maintain your wood surfaces with Minwax stains and finishes. They offer a variety of easy-to-use products to provide a beautiful finish lasting for years to come. Get 11% off all Minwax stains and finishes now at Menards. Good through July 31st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
This is your captain speaking. You better buckle your seatbelts for this one. I noticed my passport was due to expire, so I went to Staples. I got a passport photo in 10 minutes. So we're good to go.
Now at Staples. Purchase a travel service and get 20% off the rest of your purchase. Get travel ready at Staples, your one-stop travel prep destination.
Daddy, let me tell you about another time that Staples saved my caboose. That all started
And 731 in-store only. Excludes Instacart orders, certain products, services, and technology. See staplesconnect.com/services/travel for details.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Calling all residential HVAC service technicians. Do you enjoy your work but want to be challenged on larger industrial and commercial HVAC systems? Have you chosen to forgo health insurance because your premiums are too high? Did you know that REIT covers 100% of your health insurance premiums for you and your family? If you answered yes to any of these questions, contact REIT Services today. We're hiring dedicated, talented technicians who are looking for a long-term career in the HVAC service industry. Apply today at REIT Services. That's RIECK services.com.
Montgomery County veterans, we're here to serve you. You served your country, and now it's time we served you. You are entitled to many VA benefits, to include compensation, pension, and more. Call 937-225-4801 or online at mcvsc.org.
Take Audible along this summer and listen to best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts. Start with a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss your chance to see some of your favorite former Flyers return to UD Arena for the basketball tournament. Trey Landers, Scoochie Smith, and more form the Red Scare starting July 24th at UD Arena. Get your tickets at DaytonFlyers.com/TBT.
They say to never mess with the classics, but Panera did just that and more with our new Chef's Chicken Sandwiches. By using pan-seared chicken, our secret garlic aioli recipe, Parmesan crisps, and pickle chips, all on a buttery brioche roll. Because if no one messed with the classics, you never have a chicken sandwich this good. New Chef's Chicken Sandwiches from Panera. Only $1 delivery fee when you order on our app. Restrictions apply. For details, visit PaneraBread.com/delivery info.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
If I'm the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or hell, even the American Conference at this point, a lot of question marks, big picture as far as where college athletics is heading. But for right now, if I'm the Pac-12, if I'm the Big 12, I'd be pretty ecstatic about a lot of the changes happening in college athletics right now from a football standpoint. Of course, Big 10 media days, Big 12 media days, all the bigger conference having their media days over the last couple of weeks. The Big Ten's happening right now, of course. And Gene Smith today had a couple comments involving or regarding the college football playoff, and that got everyone talking again. That's everyone's new favorite argument, or not really new. It's everyone's favorite old argument to have now. 14 playoff, 16 playoff, 18 playoff. And Gene Smith commented about the college football playoff. He told ESPN on Tuesday that the talk around a potential 16 college football playoff is growing, saying that 16 just seems to be out there. Smith said, you can't ignore it. Well, again, in his circles, and his circles are a lot more reputable and a lot more important than any of our circles, he's probably not wrong. 16 is probably being thrown out. I think where we're going, this is where I think things are heading. The big arguments about why you couldn't expand the playoffs significantly more is because, well, you already played 12 games plus a conference championship game. That's 13. Now you want teams to play 2 to 3 additional playoff games. So now you're at a full NFL 16-game season. Now you have all these conferences who are expanding, and they're expanding significantly. You have other conferences who are about to collapse. But when you look at the Big Ten and you look at the SEC, and the SEC and Big Ten have the most pull of any other conference in college athletics right now, if they want 16 teams in the playoff, they're going to get it. And the best way for that to happen is you're going to have to shrink the amount of games that are played in the regular season. And guess what that means? That means non-conference games are going to be cut. And now that may sound significant or like that's going to be a problem, it's no longer going to be a problem in the near future when you're Ohio State and you have to play Wisconsin and you have to play Penn State and you have to play USC and you have to play UCLA and you have to play Michigan and Michigan State. Now all of a sudden we don't need that premier matchup with Alabama in the non-conference anymore. Now all of a sudden we don't need to put USC on our not USC. Now we don't need to put Texas on our non-conference schedule anymore, or Notre Dame. The only reason Ohio State puts some of these bigger games on is, yes, because that, you may think that, because they care about the fans and they like these entertaining games for the fans. If it was up to Gene Smith and it was up to Ryan Day, they would play 4 MAC teams in the non-conference every year and call it a day. And the only reason that they don't do that is because they can't trust their own conference. They don't trust the depth of their own conference. Ohio State does not trust Penn State to live up to the billing. Like, Ohio State could dominate the Big Ten and still have a second Big Ten team dominate with them, alongside them, and be pushing for the playoff every year. And what I mean by that is if Penn State lost to Michigan every year, lost to Ohio State every year, but they lost close to Ohio State every year, and Ohio State's their only loss every year, Penn State would get the benefit of the doubt more times than not and probably be welcomed into the college football playoff the way we see some of the second teams being added in from the SEC. And why? Because those teams win every game and then they lose to Alabama. And then it's like, well, you should lose to Alabama, but you've proven you're still one of the top teams and you get in. I think there's no way you could expand the playoff to 16 and keep the 12-game regular season intact. I think they're going to play less regular season games because they're going to play less non-conference games, which is then going to open up the door for them to play 2 to 3 additional games for the playoff, and then it all evens out. Now you don't have to put these non-conference schedules together. Now you don't have to play the Bowling Greens or the Toledos or the Miami of Ohio's or anything along those lines. That's where I think it's headed. But big picture, if I'm the ACC, I'm not mad at all that the SEC just acquired Texas and Oklahoma. If I'm the ACC, I'm very happy that the Big Ten just acquired USC and UCLA. If I'm the ACC and if I'm the Big 12, I'm actually pretty happy right now, because the chances of the Big 12 now having an undefeated team at the end of the season goes up significantly. You're no longer going to cannibalize one another. Things are going to be happening all at the same time. The first thing that's going to happen is Texas and Oklahoma, which go to the SEC starting in 24. Do you think that all of a sudden now they're going to be college football playoff teams? I'd argue that the Texas and Oklahoma teams that are going to the SEC, their chances of making the playoff decrease significantly. Significantly. I wouldn't be surprised if going to the SEC, that does not help their playoff chances. That hurts it. Playing in a weaker conference, being the big dog in a smaller pond, that actually helped you get into the college football playoff. If Oklahoma's only good team that they play on a year in, year out basis was Texas, and they go undefeated and they made those playoffs the couple years that they did, guess what? Good for you. Now teams like Oklahoma State, now teams like that, now maybe even Cincinnati. If Cincinnati builds up recruiting enough to where they go undefeated in the Big 12, they're getting into the college football playoff. Maybe a one-loss Cincinnati team with being a Big 12 champion can get into the college football playoff again. And it's going to be a lot easier for Cincinnati to make the college football playoff moving forward than it is for Ohio State. The Bearcats could theoretically, over time, not be better than Ohio State, not recruit better than Ohio State, not have a bigger brand than Ohio State, but theoretically, the Bearcats here in the near future, unless the playoff is expanded, they're going to have a better chance at making the college football playoff year in and year out than Ohio State does. Because Ohio State's going to have to beat USC. They're going to have to beat Michigan. They're going to have to beat Penn State. They're going to have to beat Wisconsin. They're going to have to beat Michigan State. And then you look at the Big 12, although it's more difficult than the American that Cincinnati was playing in, Cincinnati's recruiting is automatically going to take a step up. Obviously, it's in the state of Ohio. A lot of talent there. A lot of talent that maybe wasn't looking at Cincinnati before. We'll look at them now that they're a Power 5 program. The Bearcats will have a much more easier task at getting to the playoff than the Buckeyes will. And I think that bodes well for the Big 12. The Big 12 as a whole is going to have a significantly easier time getting to the playoff without Texas and Oklahoma than when they were there. Because that's more big brands cannibalizing one another. While Texas and Alabama and Texas A&M and Oklahoma and these teams all in Florida and LSU, Auburn, they all cannibalize one another. There's still going to be Alabama standing when it's all said and done. And then it'll be a rotation of SEC teams that'll kind of filter in with Alabama, maybe Georgia, who's right now in full swing. The Big Ten, the same thing. Ohio State will dominate. They'll trip up and lose to an average Big Ten team like they do from time to time. And then they'll lose in the Big Ten title game to USC, or they'll beat USC after losing to them in the regular season. And then they cancel each other out. And then guess what? They're out of the playoff conversation. I'm not predicting that this is definitely going to be the case, but I think big picture, if you are the ACC, if you are the Big 12, if you're the Pac-12, we put so much emphasis on being undefeated and being a conference champion. Well, if we know that the Bearcats are significantly worse than the Buckeyes, but they're an undefeated Big 12 champion, and the Buckeyes have 2 losses, even though we know Ohio State's better than Cincinnati, guess who's getting in the playoff? The Bearcats. All I'm saying is I know a lot of these programs and conferences are panicking, and they're panicking because of money, and rightfully so. But if I'm just a team, if I'm a head coach right now, I kind of like what's happening. If I'm Luke Fickell, I'm not jumping ship after this year. I'm staying with the Bearcats. I'm going to help improve and take the recruiting to that next level. Are we going to be as good as Ohio State? No, but we don't have to be. You don't have to be as good as Ohio State to win a bad Big 12 conference. Ask Clemson. They didn't have to prove that they're better than anybody. They just beat everybody because they're better than everyone, and then they made the playoff. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Justin Nickel on Facebook says the Bearcats are legit and could be bigger if they win in the playoffs. Right now, I do not think the Bearcats are legit. They're not legit. They're a great story. They're a great feel-good story, but I don't think that they're legit. Legit programs have a recruiting class come through. They win with that recruiting class leaves, and then the next class comes in, and then they win again, and then they win again, and then they win again. Let's see what the Bearcats do this year. Let's see what they do in 2023. Because honestly, you can't say the Bearcats are legit, because look how many dominoes had to fall for them to capitalize on the success that they had last year. They didn't make the playoffs because of the success that they had last year. They were in the playoff conversation because of the success that they had last year. They made the playoff because of the lack of success of the teams in front of them. They made the playoff because the Buckeyes lost twice. They made the playoff because a couple Big 12 teams collapsed down the stretch. But I know what you're saying. Justin, I'll give you this, though. They are well on their way to being legit for the examples that I just laid out. They don't have to be better than Ohio State. They just have to be better than the majority of the average teams that are in the Big 12 moving forward when they make that jump. And I don't think that's as impossible a task as what we think it is. But the Big 12, they're not going to have a headliner like the SEC, who has multiple headliners. The Big 10 is going to have multiple headliners. The ACC has 1, maybe 2 if Notre Dame joins their conference. But if not, they have 1 headliner, and that's Clemson. And Clemson has shown some signs of slippage over the last 2 years. The loss against Ohio State in the playoff 2 years ago, and then they folded and collapsed last year with DJ Uiagalelei. This is a big year for Clemson, by the way. I've been a big fan of the job that Dabo Swinney has done since arriving, since turning Clemson into a national title contender year in and year out. He did it with Deshaun Watson. It's one thing to win it with the quarterback and win it with the recruiting class, but then that recruiting class comes and goes, and then you win another title with another recruiting class. You get to multiple national championship games. You don't just win a national championship. You beat the best coach ever in Nick Saban, and you just demolish them in the playoff in the title game. I mean, Clemson, Dabo, the job he has done, I know they're a legitimate program, but I mean, they've had slippage the last 2 years. Once that happens for a third straight year, that becomes a pattern that's hard to reverse after a while. This is a big year coming up for Clemson, but that's another program right there. Clemson, everyone's talking about how this impacts the ACC. I think it helps the ACC. The ACC hasn't been good for a while. Nothing's changed. They're still not a very good conference, but they still have their headliner. I would much rather be the ACC with a headliner in Clemson than the Pac-12, who doesn't have anybody. And don't say Oregon. Oregon's been consistent. They've been solid, but they also consistently lose big games that they shouldn't, especially late in the year. Baylor loses games early in the year that they shouldn't, and then they win out the rest of the way and then have everyone talking about them, and then they keep going back to the loss that they shouldn't have had earlier in the year. And then there's Oregon, who they win a lot of big games early and they look solid, and then they choke down the stretch when you get into late October heading into November. Oregon is such an overrated program as far as I'm concerned, as far as a program that chokes anytime they get in a position where they can impress some people, and they always fail. They beat Ohio State last year. Why weren't they in the playoff? How do you beat Ohio State and then you can't even go on to win a bad conference? That's a problem. That's a problem. Keith Tolliver says big year for the U. It is a big year for the U. Right now, I think that they've done what they're supposed to. Cristobal's done a good job of getting the recruiting back on track. I think right now, regardless of the results of this upcoming season, the U is already winning right now because they're winning on the recruiting trail. But they need to close that gap quickly. The U could be that second tier team that kind of dominates the ACC along with Clemson. So some of these conferences, if I'm the commissioner of these conferences, I'm mad at my teams in the program, or I'm mad at the programs under my umbrella. If I'm the ACC commissioner, I'm mad at Florida State. I'm mad at Miami. I'm mad at those teams because if the ACC would have had, they had Clemson, but can you imagine over the years of Jimbo Fisher and when Jimbo was at Florida State, but can you imagine if Florida State and Jimbo Fisher remained Florida State and Jimbo Fisher, along with Dabo Swinney and Clemson, and then you had that big-time showdown every year, the way that we see with Harbaugh and Day and Harbaugh and Meyer at the time? That would have been huge for the ACC. The Big 12, sure, they had Texas and Oklahoma, but Texas has been garbage. And Oklahoma, they're either really, really good or really, really average. Not a whole lot in between or lower. Like if I'm the Big 12, I'm frustrated with Texas more than Oklahoma. Oklahoma's done their part. But if I'm the Big 12, I'm furious at Texas. Not only, you're this big money program, but you're going to underachieve for 90% of the time here in the Big 12, and then you're going to bolt as if you're too good for us. You may be too financially good for us, but you are not. From a football perspective, Texas, you are not too good for the Big 12. Oregon has been a better program than Texas. Oregon just doesn't generate the revenue that Texas does. It's as simple as that. It's sad that we're in the day and age now where results don't matter. You could be average to below average, generate revenue, and guess what? You're going to be propped up more so than the programs that actually recruit at a high level, that actually compete at a high level, or at least a higher level. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station. We'll step away for a few moments. I want to dive into the conversation that I had with former Bengal great Willie Anderson. Willie loves to defend Mike Brown, and rightfully so. But we're going to talk about that with Willie Anderson on the other side. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Today we have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 85 degrees. Overnight thunderstorms possible with a low of 71. And for your Thursday, partly cloudy skies and a high of 87 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. 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 Reese's.
Say hello to Zoom One. Zoom One brings together Zoom meetings, chat, whiteboard, phone, and more, all in one place to streamline your team's communications so you can simplify the way you work, whether you're in the office, at home, or a mix of both. Get more of the Zoom you know and love with meetings, chat, whiteboard, and phone bundled together into Zoom One. Find out more at zoom.com/one. Zoom One features vary by plan.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home.
That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers, and we know you are too. Join Timothy's Bar and Grill in supporting some of your favorite former Flyers like Ryan Mikesell, Trey Landers, Jordan Seibert, Scoochie Smith, and more as they reunite back at UD Arena in pursuit of the $1 million grand prize in the basketball tournament. It's the TBT on WING. Don't miss a second of the Red Scare presented by Timothy's Bar and Grill, all tournament long right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Did you know that Masterforce has thousands of tools at Menards? Any tool you want, we have. There are hammers, drills, pliers, levels, wrenches, grinders, sanders, air compressors, nailers, workbenches, mowers, blowers, chainsaws, floor jacks, knee pads, work lights, fans. Whew. And that's just a taste. Want power, performance, durability? Come check out the wide range of products from Masterforce, exclusively at Menards.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
Take Audible along this summer and listen to best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts. Start with a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Looking for dippable chicken that's done right? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for the 10-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 10 premium chicken tenderloins that are freshly marinated, honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to crispy perfection, along with 2 of our large sides, 5 fluffy biscuits, and 3 of your favorite dipping sauces. These are the best strips. No bones about it. Make your family and your wallet happy with the 10-piece strips meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
This is your captain speaking. You better buckle your seatbelts for this one. I noticed my passport was due to expire, so I went to Staples. I got a passport photo in 10 minutes, so we're good to go.
Now at Staples, purchase a travel service and get 20% off the rest of your purchase. Get travel ready at Staples, your one-stop travel prep destination.
Hey, let me tell you about another time that Staples saved my caboose. That all started
And 731 in-store only. Excludes Instacart orders, certain products, services, and technology. See staplesconnect.com/services/travel for details.
If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byars Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Shots and Odom being guarded by Thomason. Step back 3. Can't get it to fall. CJ Walker coming away with the rebound. 2 seconds. Walker gets past half court. He gets the shot off. It's good. If it goes, it goes. He hit it. He hit it. He got the rebound. Took a few dribbles just inside the half court line and buried it and kissed it off the glass. And that is a huge shot. It's a 3-possession lead now for the Red Scare heading into the fourth quarter. Here we go now. A chance to win it and advance to tomorrow night's regional final. Scoochie Smith, hesitation dribble, going to go up cross court to Seibert. Seibert thought about the 3, fade away 3. If they win it, they win! Another game winner for Seibert. Jordan Seibert again. I definitely think they caught him off guard with that 3.
There you heard it last night. Jordan Seibert with his 3rd straight game-winning shot on the home floor, of course, at University of Dayton Arena. If you go all the way back before this TBT run for Jordan Seibert, again, it's the first time that any of these Flyers have been back on the floor at UD Arena since they graduated and left UD. Most of these guys have teamed up over the years for the TBT on the Red Scare, but of course the first year they played in Columbus, at Capitol. The next year was the Bubble. Last year was at the Covelli Center in Columbus. And then of course this year at UD Arena. So the last 3 games that Jordan Seibert has played in at UD Arena go all the way back to the Boise State first 4 win. He hit the go-ahead game-winning shot with just a few seconds remaining, of course, to beat them in the first 4. Fast forward or rewind, however you want to word it, but fast forward all the way back to this past Sunday. That was the next game that he ever played at UD Arena. Again, he hit the game winner in the Elam ending, to beat City Team. And then last night, as you just heard, Just heard the Red Scare knocking off the Golden Eagles. 3 straight game-winning shots for Jordan Seibert. You want to talk about a clutch player. Can it be 4? We'll find out tonight. The Dayton Flyers Red Scare, they're going to take on Money Team, which is, of course, the team that belongs to Floyd Money Mayweather. And, of course, they are headlined by none other than Jimmer Freddette. So Jimmer Freddette's going to be leading the TBT run for the Money Team tonight. Money Team Red Scare, 7 o'clock is going to be the tip-off tonight at UD Arena. And I shared a little bit ago that there's a way for you to get tickets for tonight half off. Sully, who hosts the Talking Out Loud Dayton Flyers podcast, of course, he tweeted out earlier today that if you're planning on going to UD Arena tonight for the Flyers TBT, he still has a discount for you. You can get half off on your ticket price by going to the link that I just retweeted or he tweeted. Give him a follow at Sully, my good name, on Twitter, or at 1410 Kinner, Kinner. I retweeted it there on my page. Go and click on that link, enter the code Dayton TBT to get half off on your tickets for tonight. Last night was a 9 o'clock tip-off. It was as loud. I mean, there was about 4,000 or 5,000 there. I'd say about 3,000 or 4,000 there. And it's about as loud as when 13,000 are in there. And there's plenty of room to continue to fill up in that arena. And for the fans that did show up over the last 2 games for them, 3,000-4,000 in that range, they have been beyond loud, been beyond passionate, and I expect the same thing tonight. Last night it was weird. It had like a big game feel. I mean, it's July. This is technically like an exhibition tournament, right? Like, I mean, come on now. It's like a pickup tournament, right? That's not how I view it. That's how most try to discredit it. Go to a game, go to a TBT game, especially a Red Scare game at UD Arena, and try telling those guys that it's a pickup game tournament. That's not the case. $1 million is on the line. That right there is the ultimate motivating factor. But then the fact that these guys want to put on a show for you. When they walked off the floor for the final time years and years ago, they never thought that they would have a chance to team up with other former Flyers and play in front of you guys again, let alone play in front of you guys again at the University of Dayton Arena. So go and support the Flyers tonight. If you can't make it to the game, that's fine. We'll be calling the game live here on 1410 WING, myself and former Dayton Flyer Norm Greavy. We will be on the call, and I'll be excited to hang out with all of you guys coming up later on tonight. But the atmosphere has been fantastic, and that's with just about 3,000 or 4,000 fans. I can't imagine what that place is going to sound like for those who haven't had a chance to see Scoochie play in person since he graduated years and years ago. This is a pretty cool opportunity. Plus, you could see Jimmer Freddette. A lot of former NBA guys on this team, so it's going to be a fun matchup later on tonight at the arena, the TBT on WING. But one more time, go to Twitter at 1410 Kinner, find the link that I retweeted from Sully, and you get 50% off your tickets for tonight at UD Arena. Go and do it. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. I mean, you're going to get your Dayton Flyers experience at a much cheaper price in the month of July. How cool is that? So go and take advantage of that. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410.